we're going to get going here. I'm sure more people will join as the hour gets going, but I want to welcome everyone to this webinar to cover the offers that Efficiency Vermont has launched to support those of you who have been impacted by the flood. I appreciate everyone taking their time out of their evening to be here. If people please could put their questions in the chat rather than using the Q&A box, we would appreciate that. And we'll get going. So before we dive into the content, I just like to make sure I take a second to say hello and who I am, just so everyone knows who's on this other end of this virtual world. My name is Michelle McCutcheon-Shore. I am the community manager for Efficiency Vermont. I've been with Efficiency Vermont now for about 5 years. I spend most of my time out in the community, talking to people, learning about how our programs can support them, learning about what their struggles are, and just trying to see how we can help in the best way. And that's why I'm really excited to be here. I'm really proud and excited that we have these offers and that we can be out there supporting all of you who have gone through this horrific experience. And we're really hoping that these offers can have a large impact in supporting you and recovering and preparing for the future. So before we dive into the actual content, I just want to take a moment, take a deep breath, and recognize the mental health impact all of this has probably had on anyone who is experiencing this crisis. You know, we recognize that it's not just about your home, that it's not just about a loss of equipment. There's a lot that goes into recovery. And I just thought it was helpful to take a moment and remind everyone that there are resources out there. And we hope you're taking care of yourselves while you're trying to come back from this experience. So just diving into what we'll cover tonight, first, we're going to take a step back and really talk about how to report damage and get help. When I first started making this webinar, I was like, oh, I don't know if we need to talk about this again, but I think we're hearing in the news, I've certainly heard in the last few days, how there's still a lot of people who haven't reported damage and how important it is, how much it can help the state argue for resources and really make sure that what is needed is getting to the people who need the help recovering. So we're going to take a step back and talk about that. Then we're going to talk about commercial offers. We are starting here for those of you who are interested in it. You can certainly sign off or at the end of the commercial offer section, or you can stay on for the rest of it. Homeowners, tenants, and rental property owners, we certainly will be getting to you. We have a lot to share there, but we're going to start with commercial customers first. I want to share this quick disclaimer because I'm going to share a lot of information and it's going to feel really overwhelming. And there's a lot to what we have to offer. And so this webinar is really to just give you an overview, give you a taste of what we can do for you, but to really understand what you can access, what is applicable to your situation. It's best to go to our website, check out our customer support team. You can chat them, you can email, you can call them. It is absolutely the best way to really know what is applicable to your situation. So just can't say that enough. Again, we're going to go through everything here, but a lot of follow-up is going to be needed to really understand what is applicable to your situation. So again, we're going to take a step back, talk about how to report damage and get help. This is something that probably a lot of you have heard, a lot of you have seen over and over again. It's important to call 211. It's important to report what you lost during these floods and talk about what you need to recover. This helps the state keep track of what happened, argue for resources, and make sure that resources are getting to the places that need the help. There's also a lot of resources out there. We're not the only group out there trying to support Vermonters in recovering. The Vermont State Gov website has a great summary of offers that I suggest everyone check out. They have offers, they have solutions and support for you in cleaning up your debris, repairing your home, a lot of different things that go into recovering from a flood. It's a really great website and I really encourage you to check it out. Also, as many of you know, FEMA is in the state. There are FEMA support out there for those of you who have been impacted by the flood that if you own your own home in particular, it's really important that you apply to FEMA. The deadline for FEMA has been extended to October 12th. So The original date, I believe, was September 12th. They extended it out to October 12th because they know there's still a lot of people out there who haven't applied to FEMA. So it's just very important to think about. Let's make sure you start with applying to FEMA before you go to other resources. All right, now I'm going to dive into Efficiency Vermont resources. And just as a reminder, we're going to start with commercial offers. Then we'll talk about residential and tenant offers, and then finally finish up with rental property owners. So when I say commercial offers, I think it's important to remind everyone that for Efficiency Vermont, this means nonprofits, municipalities, and private businesses. It's kind of like a catch-all that we use for this term. So everything that I talk about in the next section can cover all three of these categories. So starting with technical assistance, we have tried to create a very holistic suite of offers to help businesses in this recovery process. We recognize there's a lot that you're trying to digest, not only managing maybe your business, but also trying to support your home if it got impacted, trying to navigate the different resources, the electrical situations, the mechanical situations you're in, all of that. So we're really here to help. We have over the phone consultations where you can call and talk to an expert. We're also happy to send someone out to your site and really try to assess your building and where we can make energy efficiency improvements for the future-proof your mechanical equipment for future flooding events, talk about our qualified product list, those sort of things. We also can provide one-on-one project assistance as you move forward with your projects, particularly when you're looking at maybe different quotes or talking to different contractors. So you see over on the screen our 1-800 or 888 number. I'm old school, I always say 1-800 number, and our website. On the website, you will see a form that you can fill out where you can give a little bit more information on why you're reaching out to us, or you can just call the 1-800 number. Now the rebates that we have for commercial offers in recovery. So we have a $100 additional incentive for businesses on qualifying new equipment. This is on top of our standard offers that we've always had for businesses. The limit is 4 per customer, so it's a max of $4,000 or $1,000 times 4 pieces. Businesses are eligible who sustain damage during the flood after July 7th, 2023. So rebates can be applied to any new equipment that was purchased on or after July 7th, 2023. There are 4 categories, here of different types of equipment that qualify for these rebates. Heating and cooling, ducted or ductless heat pumps, water heating with heat pump water heaters, refrigeration, including high efficiency evaporators and high efficiency condenser units, and a slew of commercial equipment that can be covered. Please remember, again, like I said in the beginning, there are other terms and conditions that may apply to these offers that may impact the total incentive amount available to you. So it's really important that you call our website, call our customer service or check to our website to make sure you understand what you qualify for. So in order to get your rebate, all these rebates are post-purchase. So you can go to our website, you can check out the qualified product list. If you haven't purchased your product yet, you want to locate a participating distributor, purchase the equipment through them. If you already have purchased your equipment, you can just download the form and submit that form with our rebate there. I have the website up over on the right. You can find it even if you look at our website at the top, it says flood resources, and that's a great button to just hit in that green. And it'll take you right to all that information. Some fine print to keep in mind with these commercial rebates. Used, rebuilt, or refurbished equipment is not eligible. Customers are responsible for paying for any tax liability associated with the payment. Rebate payment, Flood recovery rebate is an addition to your standard midstream rebates. So Efficiency Vermont has a whole host of midstream rebates that are already provided to customers through participating retailers. So this $1,000 is on top of that standard rebate. If you have purchased your equipment through a non-participating dealer, meaning that you did not receive that midstream rebate, you may be able to complete a non-participating distributor form to get the standard midstream rebate. Again, a great place to call our customer service or fill out the form online to get more information. Some other resources I want to make sure people are aware of. The Agency of Commerce and Community Development has the BGAP program, as they're calling it, the Business Emergency Gap Assistance Program. This is a $20 million grant program for businesses and nonprofits and rental property owners. Grants can cover physical property that was damaged. To be eligible, you have to be in the same location or plan on reopening up elsewhere in Vermont. Also, we are partnering with the RDCs to help businesses navigate the many different flood recovery resources out there. So if you haven't already, we highly recommend you reach out to your local RDC to talk to them about how they might be able to help you with other resources that are out there. They can help you navigate our resources as well as the ACCD program. So I'm going to take a pause there and just see if there's any questions that have come in and see about the commercial rebates or anything that I've covered so far and see if we want to answer them there. Don't think I see any. Okay, no commercial questions yet. It seems like most of the questions are residentially focused or being answered in the chat. So I'm going to keep going. Never too late to submit a question. Feel free to still pop them in the chat. But we're going to keep moving. So now we're going to talk about offers for homeowners and tenants. So it is important for homeowners and tenants to realize that Efficiency Vermont rebates should be accessed after you exhausted other options, including first year insurance, FEMA, again, the deadline goes until October 12th now. The weatherization assistance program, which if you believe you could be eligible based on your income, it is very worth reaching out to them and applying to them. And then your Efficiency Vermont, then you can work with us for our rebates. Note, if you're eligible for FEMA, meaning that your county has been delegated by FEMA, you need to have a FEMA claim number before applying to Efficiency Vermont incentives. You're not required to go through the whole process or go through SBA loans before you apply to us, but customers should note that by accepting our incentives, if you plan to appeal your FEMA award, this could impact that process. So it is important to speak to FEMA and understand how accepting our incentives could impact your process with them before accepting our resources. So similar to businesses, we really have tried to create a suite of offers to provide technical supports and homeowners in recovery. We have over-the-phone consultations. We have our virtual home energy visits, which we've had for quite some times, but we've revamped them to focus specifically on flood recovery. So if you go to the virtual home energy visit website, which is under our rebate page on our website, you can sign up right there and it'll ask if you have been impacted by the flood and if you're interested in a flood specific virtual home energy visits. I also encourage everyone to check out our website. We have a lot of resources, efficiencyvermont.com/flood. It has a lot of information. It may be a little overwhelming, but I definitely suggest you take a look there. And again, we also have our traditional rebates and our traditional resources that we've always had for homeowners, which I know a lot of people in this moment are finding very helpful. So now I'm going to go through our HVAC and appliance rebate program for flood impacted homes. First, this offer is open to low and moderate income Vermonters. This table on your screen shows you the different requirements by county and the size of the household. Obviously, we still serve those who have more than 5 people in their household. I just simply couldn't fit it on this slide. So if you're more than 5 people in your home and you're wondering about your income requirements, please reach out to Efficiency Vermont. Please note that income is defined as the combined total annual gross income of all family and non-family members in a household. So that is important to remember. More details about customer eligibility. Some of this we've already talked about. You must apply to insurance and FEMA before accessing our offers. If you live in a FEMA declared county, you must meet the income requirements listed on the page below. Some other things to note, there's a $10,000 cap per household for this appliance rebate package that I'm going through. This does not include incentives that you may have received from Efficiency Vermont in the past. The flood damage to your home must have happened between July 10th and July 31st, 2023. For Addison County, we've extended that a little bit, noting that there was flooding that occurred in that county past that date to August 10th, 2023. Tenants are welcome to access these offers, but for larger appliances, they will need a attestation signed by them and the property owner of their ownership over this appliance. And we'll go into more detail there on the next slide. So the 4 categories that are included in this offer are large appliances. So that means you can use these offers to replace large appliances that are no longer functioning with Energy Star certified appliances of refrigerators, full standard size only, freezers, washer and dryers. For small appliances, you don't need to be replacing an appliance for small appliances. You can access this offer if you were flood impacted, and renters can access this without having an attestation of ownership to purchase new Energy Star rated small appliances, air conditioners, dehumidifiers, and air purifiers. For heating systems, you can replace heating systems that are no longer functioning, including boilers, furnaces, wood stoves, and ductless heat pumps. For wood stoves and heat pumps, you can purchase these as additional supplemental heating to the system that you already have. And but if you're replacing fossil fuel burners, they must be replaced with Energy Star boilers and furnaces. Hot water heaters can be replaced with Energy Star heaters or heat pump water heaters. And then the next slide, I'm going to go into show you much more detail of each of these offers. So here's the list of all the offers. I am not going to go through every single one of these because it's a lot here, but no, low income, there's slightly higher incentives for each category than moderate income. Heat pump water heaters do not impact your overall $10,000 cap. That's the one caveat to that rule. So everything else kind of hits that $10,000 cap unless you have chosen to replace with a heat pump water heater, and that's kind of outside of the cap. Please remember, again, there are other terms and conditions that may apply to these offers that may impact the total incentive amount that is available to you. So reaching out to our website, calling customer service, and really talking to them about your unique situation is the best way to know what you qualify for. Next, I'm going to talk about some weatherization for flood impacting homes. So most of you are probably familiar with our weatherization offers. We currently have one out there that is that anyone can receive 75% of project costs up to $4,000. And Vermont residents who apply for low and moderate income are eligible for 75% of costs back up to $9,500. So that's our standard offer. We have that as is, but we've made some edits for flood impacted homes to make sure that everyone can participate in the program. First and foremost, we've removed the requirement for a post blower door test prior to beginning the project. This is because many people have already removed the insulation in their homes, maybe even removed walls. So doing a pre-blower door test just doesn't make sense. As usual, we encourage everyone to use Efficiency Vermont Energy Excellent Network Contractor. This is going to be the best and easiest way to access our offers. But if you completed your work in your home already, or an out of network contractor has already done the work, you can use an EEN contractor to test your work, and then you can still access our offers. So this is one of these changes that we've made to make it a little bit more accessible for those of you who have been impacted by the flood. If you choose to use an EEN contractor to test your project, and it doesn't qualify, that doesn't meet our standards, you can still submit the cost of getting it tested, and we will help cover it up to 75%. We didn't want homeowners to be too negatively impacted by just testing to see if they can participate in our program and then finding out their project didn't meet the requirements. So all of these offers I've been talking about are kind of post-project, post-purchase. And so we knew we needed to do something to help people with the upfront cost. In order to do that, we have leveraged a product that we've had for a long time, the home energy loan, to make it more accessible to those who need help in purchasing products. So first and foremost, we created a whole tier of loan terms at 0% for up to 5 years. We also increased the loan amounts to $30,000. And you'll see our participating lenders, they've always been working with us. It's the same 3: VSECU, Opportunities Credit Union, and NeighborWorks of Western Vermont. We also have allowable projects that include weatherization, heat pumps, ducted or ductless, hot water heaters, wood heating, Energy Star appliances. So those are all those things that we've talked about before of what you can replace. Customers will also be allowed to use the home energy loan to replace fossil fuel heating system. And up to 50% of the project costs that you need for these can be put towards health and safety measures. So again, this is all ways we've kind of edited this program to make sure it was more impactful for those homes that were impacted by the flood. I am going to take a second before we move on to our offers for rental property owners to just check the chat and questions and see what I can address. So the first question is, my basement flooded during Irene and again in July. If I can move heating, hot water, and electric panels out of my basement, is there anything I need to do with my basement as far as changing the energy, quote unquote, envelope, such as adding spray foam? So these kind of questions are really hard to answer on a webinar. And the truth is, it just comes down to your particular home. I would really encourage you to sign up for our virtual home energy visits, where you can speak one-on-one with one of our energy experts, and they can really take a look at what you've done, what you want to do, what your goals for your homes are, and how to best do that in an efficient way. There's also a question here, is there a deadline for appealing FEMA decisions? It's best to check with FEMA about any FEMA related questions. I'm myself nor anyone at EVT Efficiency Vermont are like FEMA experts, but our understanding is that there is a 60-day period for appeals. But again, it's best to check with FEMA. There's a question, are rental property owners considered a commercial business? So the next section is going to help answer that question, because we have special offers for rental property owners in the next section. Anything else? So someone asked, Efficiency Vermont seems to be supporting heat pump splits, even though there are other efficient and good heating systems. Is Efficiency Vermont supporting heat pumps as the quote unquote best option? We recognize there's a lot of different heating systems, and it is merely impossible to tell everyone exactly what type of heating system they should be using in their home, particularly in the state that has some of the oldest housing stock in the country. So we really don't tell customers exactly what the best heating solution is for their home. Particularly for this flood recovery program, we have chosen to support Energy Star rated fossil fuel systems, pellet boilers, and furnaces for residential customers, as well as our traditional heat pumps and wood stove, recognizing the need out there and the diversity of homes that we might be serving. Okay, and that's it for now. Again, the chat is super active and I really appreciate that. I have a whole team behind me helping me answer questions, so they're answering what they can, and we'll try to get everyone before the end. But we're going to move on to rental property owner offers, which hopefully will help answer some of your questions. Okay, So we know there are a lot of rental units that got impacted by the flood out there. And so we designed a whole package of offers for rental properties, hopefully addressing some of the issues out there. So first and foremost, we are asking that all property owners submit to their insurance before they come to us for offers. This is similar to what we talked about with residential offers. We want to make sure you're exhausting the other options out to you before coming to us to make sure the most efficient use of funds across the board. Also, these offers are open to low and moderate income rental units. We are determining that by rent levels. So conversely to how we did with residential, which was based on income, this is based on the cost of the rental unit. There is a $10,000 cap for each unit for water heating, appliances, and deckless heat pumps. And then there's a $10,000 per building limit for central heating systems. This is exactly the same categories as residential. Again, trying to meet all the needs that we're meeting with the residential program, but for property owners. So I'm not going to go through all of this again because it's all the same, but large appliances, small appliances, heating systems, and hot water heaters. One thing to note about this cannot be combined with our existing rental property rebate program. If you're accessing this, you can't on top of that layer the other program as well. Here are the offer details and the product requirements. You'll see most of them are capped at $10,000 for those whole home systems again. And then the large appliances are up to $1,000 for in-unit clothes washers and in-unit dryers, refrigerators, and freezers. I'm gonna let everyone digest that for just a moment. But again, the best way to know what you're eligible for, what will work for your rental property, is to call and reach out to us, and we can provide you support over the phone or in person. The fine print to keep in mind for rental property owners. Gonna say it again, apply to your insurance first. For in-unit versus whole building equipment, recognizing that people have different mixes within their building. For in-unit products, eligibility is based on the rent level for that unit. For equipment for whole building, at least 50% of the units in the building have to qualify by rent levels. We also are asking that the property owner signs an attestation that they will not increase rent for 36 months, basically based on the work that was done under this program. So you need to, I'm not going to read that whole statement, but that will be on the rental property rebate form, and we will be asking rental property owners to sign off on that. So we are at the halfway mark, and we're going to jump to Q&A. And I think I'm going to take a look over here. So there are questions in the chat coming in about laying out money up front, particularly for replacing heating systems. And this is something that we are hearing from customers, and we know it's an issue out there. Originally, that was how we were hoping to address with the financial package that I talked about through our lending partners. We also are looking at other solutions because we realize what a barrier this is. So I don't have much to share right now. And, you know, I'm sure it's not like super comforting, but I hope I can maybe bring you some comfort by saying we recognize that it's an issue and we're trying to figure out other ways that we can help. So there is a question about getting water in basements and if we can provide assistance for drying out basement. FEMA only, according to this customer, only addressed their mold issues, but getting water in the basement is causing additional issues. So weatherization projects can help with water issues, and it can improve the dryness in your basement, but sub pumps are not an eligible part of this program. But if you do use the home energy loan, you could put in the sub pump as a part of the weatherization project. So if you're going to do a weatherization project and you need a sub pump in order to dry out your basement to do that weatherization project, that cost could be considered part of that health and safety, 50% health and safety requirement I was talking about earlier. So that would be a way to access that offer in order to get coverage and support with that. Again, it would be a great place to talk to one of our experts through a virtual home energy visit. It's always hard with these webinars because people provide a lot of like specific questions about their homes, and it's really hard to answer it in this type of forum. The best thing to do is to reach out to one of our energy experts, get them on the phone, talk about your specific situation so that they can help you out the best that they can. There was a question that came in earlier today asking about, is a former renter required to apply for an SBA loan before applying to rebates? My FEMA application has been made, but I'm not certain if an SBA loan application is required as well. So like I said earlier, a requirement is that you have a FEMA claim number and that you've applied to FEMA. You do not need to have applied to your SBA loan, but accepting EVT funding, accepting Efficiency Vermont incentives could impact your process of appealing FEMA. And so it's best to talk to them for sure before accepting our incentives if you're planning on continuing that process. There's also a question about the deadline for these offers. There's no deadline at this point, and rebates are just as long as they last, frankly, depending on the volume that comes in. But we're fairly confident that we will hopefully be able to serve a lot of Vermonters. So I would say as soon as you can apply, but there's no deadline at this point. So we got a question about if people have participated in our weatherization rebates before, but in a different room pre-flood, can we use it again? And the answer is yes, you can. Your pre-work with Efficiency Vermont doesn't impact your participation in these flood offers. We've removed the lifetime cap on our weatherization program for flood impacted homes. Another question, so we borrowed dehumidifiers. Are we able to purchase those for the basement for reimbursement? Yes. Yep, you can. Sorry, there's a lot coming in the chat, so I'm just trying to make sure I got it all. I think that's it for the questions. We have a little bit more time. I don't mind waiting another second and seeing if more comes in. Liz, thank you for all your answers in the chat. This is a wealth of information about recovery for sure. So there is a question of, do I have to wait until my new boiler has been installed before I can apply to Efficiency Vermont? No, you don't have to wait until it's installed, but if you apply to us, you would just be applying for the cost of the new boiler. And so you would maybe struggle to get the full cost back of installing it as well. So it's kind of best to wait until it's installed so you can get the full cost back. But if you can't wait, we understand that, and you can apply before it is installed. Mark Woodward asked if there's a specific person at EVT working with landlords. So our property owner program is similar to most of our other programs where we have individuals working across the state based on territory. So if you are a property owner looking for support, you can reach out to us and we can assign you to the correct person to help you based on your location as well as your need. So we got another question. Sorry, everyone. I'm trying to navigate the chat. I'm doing my best, I swear. It's a lot. Feel free to keep putting your questions in the chat. There's, again, a team behind me working to answer the questions. There's a question about how the loans work and the interest rate, and that one is easy for me to answer by going back, and I hope I don't make anyone dizzy. So so here are the interest rates on the different loan terms and the amounts. So the 5-year terms are all 0% interest, 5 to 10, and then when you get back to the tiers of interest rates. This is all on our website, and it's kind of best to go on there and check it out. Your actual loan, what you're approved for, is going to be done through the participating lenders. So you can also go to any of their website and go through their application process to see what you qualify on based on their income verification process. Oops. Are the small appliance maximum per unit or total? I'm not sure. Are you talking about, Kristen, are you talking about for the residential offer or for the property owner offer? I can go back to the 2 slides. So if you're talking about for a rental property, it's $400 per appliance, and the maximum is 2 per appliance type. And I'm just trying to go slow so I don't cause anyone to get dizzy. And then for small appliances, again, these can be used or like replacements or just like new items purchased, up to $400 per appliances, maximum 2 per appliance type, or 300 based on your income level. Okay. There was a question about if you get an estimate on a furnace replacement, can you call us and let us know exactly how much will be covered? We can tell you if the furnace qualifies. You can receive up to $10,000 less your FEMA award if applicable. We can't share the FEMA award data that we receive. So we will be receiving data from FEMA regarding how much they've awarded people, and then we are taking that off the amount that we're awarding you, because we can't be exceeding the amount that you paid for the item. So we can tell you, like, if what you bought qualifies, and we can also take a look if you already have your award from FEMA, and letting you know how much the rebate amount will likely be. There's a question about repairing efficient boilers. Repairs are not eligible for reimbursement. Purchasing of equipment is. I'm just going to do a time check here. Stephen, the person that just messaged about applying for a loan, I would encourage you to reach out to our customer service team. I don't want to get into trying to ask too many details about your personal situation on this public webinar. So if you can reach out to our customer service team, if you have already, I'm sure they're on it, or email our website, which I can put up I think actually my next slide has the email on it, but I would very much suggest you try to reach out to us individually rather than trying to dig into your personal situation on this webinar. So Howie asked if we gutted sequentially and insulated with spray foam our entire home in 2021 to 2022, are there any incentives still available to us? And unfortunately, no. Most of our incentives work within the calendar year. Maxine, I see your question about purchasing and updating heating system based on the recommendation of your plumber. Although it is efficient, it was not recognized by the state. I am not sure what that means, not recognized by the state. Again, I would suggest you reach out to us individually, and we can try to dig into your specific situation, or if you want to put more details in the chat. Recognizing that we have about 10 minutes left, I might move on, especially because I see that the chat has slowed pretty significantly. So before we wrap up, I want to just mention some other resources out there. We have our list of Energy Excellent Network contractors. You can go to our website and put in your zip code, and it will bring you right to some contractors in your area. Always worth checking with your utility too, and seeing if they have additional incentives available. There is on our website a list of incentives for damaged vehicles, because we recognize that a lot of people lost their vehicles in the flood, or at least they were damaged. And if you have questions about how to rebuild, again, reaching out to us for a virtual home energy visit is always a great way to get one-on-one resources, or you can check out our webinar from August. And on this last page, not to sound like a broken record, I'm gonna say one more time, calling us or emailing us or going to our website is always a great way to learn more, talk about your personal situation, your home, and see how we can help out. I think we're gonna wrap up here. I really appreciate, again, everyone joining us for this webinar. I will check the chat one last time. Maxine, again, I would encourage you to reach out to us if you're struggling to find a contractor. We may be able to help you over the phone. And Lawrence, I'm just trying to get one last answer for you. Oh yeah, no, I think we already got that question regarding your boiler. So hopefully this was helpful. Again, I appreciate you all being here. This will be recorded and you will be able to access this on our website afterwards. And again, just reach out to us if you have any further questions. Thank you all.